Welcome to the end of Nightmare Creatures. For real this time. Victory is within arm's reach, and nothing is gonna stop us now. Oh. Okay, now nothing is gonna stop us. Had to show that off, of course. It's one of the few full-motion videos in the game, which means it was too technically complicated for the N64 port, and was cut out. The reason we didn't see it earlier is because once you see the game over screen once, your run is pretty much over. It's very, very difficult to recover your inventory well enough to not see the game over screen constantly from then on. I wouldn't expect anyone to have the patience to put up with all the resulting level resets and loading screens. But we don't have to deal with that again. For now, more destruction. You'd almost think the monsters would try getting in these suits of armor. And in fact, one of them did. But it was just a demon. Didn't do him much good. It's going to be constant explosions throughout this level. And much like the last one, fire everywhere. Much of the fire is unavoidable. So as we go around the corner, we just automatically take damage. Not a hell of a lot we can do about it. I'm about to show the very last combo. There it was now. The only combo of Nadia's we hadn't seen before, called the Culinary Slash. It's performed the same way as St. Philip's Lament with Ignatius, which means it's really hard to do. It consists of 3 ridiculous, awkward, up and down slashes. If you manage to catch an enemy in all 3, they get chopped up like a blender. But that's not realistically something that'll happen. This Hellhound has lured us to a dead end. And indeed, if we don't get out of here, it will be our dead end. But we have 27 lives to spare. That is dramatically more than the number of hard pickups in the entire game. Because my original recording of this level got corrupted. I had to use a password to get back here, which resets your inventory. Gives you only 2 to 4 uses of most of the items. But it does save your life count. My life count was appallingly low at this point. Luckily, someone called Chris Canfield has decoded the game's password system and written an algorithm for how to generate your own passwords with a custom amount of lives. So, I set myself up with the maximum number, which is 31. I don't have many items, but I have enough lives to just deal with it. Muscle my way through. Not to worry, I did beat this level legitimately in the corrupted version. Now I just have to fight my way through everything instead of nuking it all with items. I have discovered some weird quirks with the items, though. On the PlayStation version, if you shoot a gargoyle, they just fall down. It doesn't actually kill them. We saw on Nintendo it does explode them, but I didn't notice that it costs 2 bullets when you do that. Same with the Hellhounds. Alternatively, the multi-gun. On the PlayStation, that will kill gargoyles, but on N64, they're immune to that. The gun is just very strange between versions. I legitimately forgot about that ambush. But that solved it. This is sort of our secret for the area. You're supposed to assume that pit is a one-hit kill. But no, it's full of prizes. This brings us back to the original fire that we crossed earlier, got burned to death by, so you may be surprised by what I'm about to do next. This is fine. See? Nadia's all right. Well, she's looked better, but she's alive. I noticed while playing that if you step into fire, part of your body will go transparent and get all charred up, like Nadia's leg there. But after a second, it returns to normal. But forums user Zarchasm pointed out that there's a glitch where if you get your entire body engulfed in flames, your head and parts of your torso just never come back. Now, it costs 5 red health orbs to do that and survive. And that's exactly the number I was able to farm up by playing this level in the previous one. So, unfortunately, we will not be able to do this glitch again. But we'll get to enjoy it while it lasts. Fire Revenant Nadia was able to go on quite the rampage with that single use of the Berserker. We still got a few more of those left, so probably make use of that. Keep us alive as long as possible. But with the intentional placement of this fire, it's not going to be very long anyway. There's just no way around that corner without getting burned. So we are back to normal, but we still get to enjoy our buzzsaw for a couple of seconds. And an absolutely terrible change that they made to the Nintendo version is they made gargoyles immune to the buzzsaw. I appreciate that they tried to rebalance things, but if anything, to make more things vulnerable to the buzzsaw, not less. Big mistake. Now, with the final weapon upgrade, we can easy chop the gargoyles. That's quite difficult to do. Also, it's just about the only use that the top tier upgrade has. There's a nice view up here. Wonder what else is up here. A brand new horror that has left us for now, but I doubt we've seen the last of them. And during their little introductory cutscene, some harpies beat the shit out of me. Rather unfair. But that merely slowed us down. We're coming up on the end of the level, and I swear gargoyles are actually bulletproof, even though that one just died from being shot twice. I swear I've shot them like 10 times before and they still lived. Inconsistencies aside, they are dispatched, and we are heading onwards to the roof.
I raise my flask to my lips. Wretched Ignatius and Nadia, I toast your destruction.
We've come all this way to take down Adam Crowley the man, but it seems we'll be facing the monster he's become. The roof is on fire and beset by giant variants of the demon enemies. You would think that would be a pathetic cohort for our final boss to choose, but these are massively upgraded demons. They'll swoop around endlessly. They have a great deal of health and are very hard to corner. I was lucky to kill the one there. And their one attack is to leave behind trails of fire. I'm actively trying not to show off what happens when you get hit by the fire, but it's pretty inevitable. The fire does massive damage, stun locks you, and hits you constantly, pretty much guaranteeing your death so rapidly that the health bar has to take a couple seconds to catch up. It's brutal, and the saving grace is that they are susceptible to the Berserker. So you only have to hit them once, and you can do it from the front, because chasing behind them is suicide. Once we're down to one, it's safe to do some platforming, get some red health orbs. This battle was played on our original run of the game, so our full inventory has been restored. We're going to need at least all those red orbs we collected throughout the game. The monster's doing his King Kong impression up on that spire. If we kill his last minion, that should piss him off enough to come down and see us. There he is, finally facing him in person. Someone we've been preparing for, so let's show him what we can do. Now, I'm certain those hits actually landed, but nothing happened. The Crowley monster has a gimmick that the game does not tell you about. If we were playing this on the Nintendo version, there would have been a little pop-up text that said, "Use combos only," because our basic strikes do no damage and don't even affect the monster. As you can see though, our trusty Feet of Fury combo, that is still very reliable at dealing with him. The Sever Slash from many levels ago will break his defenses if we land it, which is not going to happen. So, Feet of Fury, doing its work. Even the final boss is not safe. But it's Divide and Conquer that knocks him into this dizzy state, where he still seems to be immune to damage. Another change they made to this boss fight was giving it a life bar. When you empty that bar out, the boss enters the staggered state permanently. But here, staggering him only affords you a small opportunity in which to finish him. And that is that. Our heroes have achieved victory, saved the day, and Nadia has gotten her revenge. I take you now to the hard-earned ending of the Nintendo 64 version. Aha! Our expectations have been inverted by a closing twist. Turns out we didn't save anything, and we didn't get our revenge. I think we can all learn a lesson from this ending. If you pursue your goals with tenacity and persevere through endless setbacks, you will fail anyway, and no one will ever even know you tried. Let us celebrate this nihilistic anti-victory by watching the FMV that clip was trying to emulate. And that, yet again, is the end of Nightmare Creatures. Anyone who made it this far into the game, or even the Let's Play, deserves their congratulations. This is not a user-friendly experience. It's certainly not without its charms, though, and I'm glad the N64 version made so many quality-of-life improvements. Almost all the changes they made were at the very beginning or the very end of the game, though. Everything from the Sewer Snake to the Jose Manuel boss fight was almost completely unchanged. But getting to the end has earned us a awesome King of Hell picture that is slightly cropped out at the bottom. It legitimately unlocks the cheats menu we saw in the bonus video, and it warns us of more nightmare creatures to come, as is contractually obligated after that horrible forced cliffhanger. But we don't have to wait for a sequel. I've got plenty more of this game to show you right now. For starters, there's this glitch that I stumbled upon at the end of the final level that I'm almost positive is not repeatable, so I'm glad I captured it. So we are here at the very last stretch of the Westminster 2 level. fighting harpies as is normal, but who else is out there in the darkness? None other than the Crowley monster itself. What happened here is something I didn't manage to capture. I was using the repulsive smoke to travel through the level without being harassed. That sent the harpy that I just killed off in the corner of this area, right at the exact moment that the Crowley monster was leaping off of it. And it happened to strike him 2 or 3 times and knock him into the level structure, where he saw fit to change his plans and do battle with us here. He's susceptible to a small selection of items, and among those items is the Berserker. So that's it. The Crowley monster wiped out, here in Westminster Abbey, a level before he's supposed to be. This is where we see his corpse in the ending of the N64 version, so this glitch is practically canonical. We'll just leave Nadia to pose with her trophy as we move on to the next thing I'd like to show you. For that, we have returned to the PC version. Last time we were here, I spoke of a unique cheat that I would show off later, and the time has come. It's called Team Greetings, and when we start a new game, it will become quite evident what it means. We'll be playing as Ignatius because his black outfit makes it easier to see the text we'll be exploring, and this is also the only way to see the entirety of that King of Hell picture. When it actually loads in, we are taken to a hall of portraits. As soon as we approach one of the portraits, it tells us who the picture is of and what they did for the game. This is an interactive credits sequence. Behind each portrait is a bunch of items. When we leave this area, it will take us to the level we selected. If I were to collect all these items, I might actually have a full enough inventory to complete the game without pulling out all my hair. For the sake of this Let's Play, I played each level 3 times before recording, so that I could be sure to use as few items as possible, and I still almost ran out on the original PlayStation version. That, and recording issues, and the effort of Frankensteining all the cut PlayStation content back into the N64 version, made this Let's Play take about 8 months longer than I'd hoped, but I'm honestly quite satisfied with it. The game was quite a lot of fun and worth showing off, despite its many, many, many flaws, mostly caused by a small and inept team of developers. But they did their best, I hope. They had a lot of good ideas, and some of them were even well implemented. Nonetheless, I appreciate the opportunity to break all of their faces for what they did to me. The sequel that was promised by the end credits did come to fruition. Nightmare Creatures 2 was released in 2000, 3 years after the original. It contains none of the dual characters, or different versions, or weird history segments. Plus, the color palette of the entire game is nothing but black and gray. Very uninteresting. Oh, those last 2 guys were responsible for the loading screens, and most likely the typos that were present throughout them, which were corrected in the PC version. But as I was saying, I have no intention of Let's Playing Nightmare Creatures 2. I doubt I can make it through, at least not without a co-commentator. However, in September of 2017, a new Nightmare Creatures game was announced. Apparently, the IP was just floating in the ether unclaimed, so a company called Albino Moose snatched it up and promised a revival. Nary a word has been spoken of it since then, and their track record does not inspire confidence, so I don't expect it to happen, but if it does, it is much more likely to show up on this channel than the existing sequel. That right there was Frederick Mott, the game's composer, who did perhaps the best job of anybody. So of course he was replaced with Rob Zombie in the sequel. This guy has a bit of confetti falling down around his portrait, as does the next guy. It's quite hard to tell, but it's a shower of cash. This guy, or Goo as it were, made his thank you screen way too busy to actually read, but he thanked guitar virtuosos Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, and he put a PlayStation version cheat down at the bottom. That's the code for the cut body cheat. So it's a good tip, but this code is not accessible on the PlayStation version, at least as far as I can find. This at least implies that the code for it is still present on the PlayStation disc, though. I can find no other proof of that. I believe this French text reads, "Thank you to my boys," which is just a list of monsters in the game, including Adam Crowley himself. Another lengthy bit of text and a million items. He wants us to enjoy the game and actually provides us the means to do so. What a guy. This one returns the money rain and provides another cheat, but this one is for the blur screen cheat. What an asshole. Now that's what I like to see. Short and to the point. Just that one wall was full of attention hogs. I quite like this guy, though. I probably would have named the thread Lucifer over London if I'd known about this when I started it. I believe that means peace and pleasure. And it's most of the title of a Matisse painting. Weird. And this level designer thanks Crowley. And then, once again, thanks Adam Crowley. But that portrait looks like the kind of guy who would be a fan of Aleister Crowley, so no huge surprise. And next we come to Nicolas Gaume, the founder of Callisto Studios. And he probably does legitimately shower in money. He's the heir to a very successful real estate developer, which is probably why he hasn't shut down David Cage for massive labor violations, despite being the president of the Video Game Union of France. And this cartoon character here is the original game concept developer. The credits only call him Beetroot, so this is the only way to find out his real name, but not his real face. And at the very end is the animation designer, who, like Frederick Mott, did a phenomenal job. The animations are way ahead of their time for the most part in this game. But that's it. That is all the people we can thank for this game, which has come to its conclusion. But I still have one final thing to share with you. It's exhausting, I know, but this is the narrated origin story of the Brotherhood of Hecate, which can be found on the soundtrack and nowhere else. It does some interesting things, like contradict parts of the story from the actual game. It writes out the mysterious HV, which is just as well, he never shows up again anyway. And it introduces a new character. A character who contradicts real-world history. So I'll just say that Samuel Pepys did have a brother, but his name was John. But I think that's all I have to clarify. Thank you all for watching this far into the cursed mess of an adventure I brought you. I hope you've enjoyed it so far, and I hope you continue to enjoy Storytime.
At a time when the world was mired in poverty and disorder, the Pepys brothers were devising ways to get success in a yet unknown new world. The two would go on to establish their unique skills and make profound achievements in their respective fields of medicine and literature. A few years later, the two joined the Brotherhood of Hecate in London, a group active at the time in the realms of positivism and research into natural phenomena. However, the true and hidden pursuit of the Brotherhood was unholy research towards the creation of the ultimate human being. These depraved experiments led to the creation of mutant beasts and the spread of disease and chaos throughout London. And in the fateful year of 1666, Samuel Pepys, who foresaw the impending doom, set fire to the underground laboratory in the hope of wiping out every trace of the Brotherhood of Hecate and its evil research. In a matter of minutes, the fire spread throughout London, and the whole city was engulfed in flames. It seemed that all had perished into the ashes, save one. Now, Daniel Pepys, aware of his brother's suspicious acts, murders Samuel, and together with the gruesome records, disappears into the darkness of history. Ignatius, a priest in the Church of England and a specialist in mysticism, learns of a frightening increase in the number of missing clergy, as well as sightings of inexplicable monsters. Unable to obtain any facts or solid information, Ignatius one day receives an ancient and mysterious book from out of nowhere. Written on the cover of the tattered volume is Samuel Pepys, and nothing else. In deciphering the contents, he learns of the mysterious Brotherhood of Hecate. Realizing the seriousness of what is before him, he quickly sends the book to his mentor in the United States, Professor Jean, and requests a detailed assessment. Professor Jean and his daughter Nadia begin their research based on this diary of Samuel Pepys. As fate would have it, however, Professor Jean is soon found murdered at his hotel. During his last moments, Jean has found the strength to leave a single message.